Welcome back to All's Caps with former Capitals defenseman Karl Alzner and daily face-off and Carolina Hurricanes Scott Burnside. I'm AP hockey writer Steve Wino. Eventually, I think Karl's going to have to ask me these stupid questions at some point too. But for now, Scott Burnside is the latest victim of Karl's stupid questions.
Yes, I've been waiting, Wino, one of these days. And I want the perfect questions for you. So I've been slowly marking down which ones I think you'd be good at. So Scott, so these are, just quickly, it's just dumb questions that I've thought of, my buddies have thought of, and I just try and ask them and get a little bit better picture of who you are and how you like to answer things. So it's my turn on this side of the paper now.
All right.
And I'm going to give you a score at the end too, just so
Okay.
you know. So score high or score low, it's up to you. First question is, we obviously know you're a great writer, great storyteller, but what job would you be bad at, you think? Like, what would you just not have a good time doing at all?
Well, pretty much anything else. But anything involving measuring, a hammer, sawing, numbers, banking, manual labor. I think that covers pretty much every. So I sometimes say this, that I am in fact ill qualified to do anything else. So that's the sad truth.
That's amazing.
I think you'd be bad at anything that requires a vow of silence. Anything that would require that, you'd be bad at.
That too. Also, any job where you can't swear.
Gotcha. Okay, so librarian would not be good, even though you do like books, right?
Minister or something like that. Yeah.
Too good. Okay, a good answer. Okay, next one here. Do you have a guilty pleasure? Something that, I mean, for me, it's definitely sweets. It'd be my guilty pleasure. Do you have anything along those lines?
Yeah. You know what? I really dill pickle chips, and thanks to Amazon, I've been able to buy them literally by the box full, which probably not great for a hockey writer who has more or less sedentary lifestyle, but dill pickle chips. And I'll be honest, I sometimes buy them late at night. I think I probably bought them with Wino late at night.
You have bought dill pickles. We have walked into a 7-Eleven and you've walked out with dill pickle chips. This has happened. I believe in Chicago.
Yes.
Do you go with like the small individual size bag, or you need the big one?
Big ones.
Big one, take it down.
Although I will say, yeah, on Amazon, you have to be careful. Because if you aren't careful, you will get a box full of the tiny ones. Ooh. And that seems wasteful to me. So I prefer when the box comes and they have the big bags.
Well, what makes you feel better though, having one big bag of dill pickle chips or 3 of the small bags? Because it's like Halloween, you know, I can justify 10 little mini chocolate bars, but if you give me 2 full-size chocolate bars, I feel something's wrong.
I hear you. No, I understand that. I think it's, for me, it's the wasteful packaging. And plus, I can always clip the big bag, put it away, and then come back and have some later.
Gotcha. Good for you for clipping it and not letting them dry out.
And you do not have a sedentary lifestyle. Your routine, your kind of walking and jump rope routine fascinates the hell out of me.
Well, I do. You got to do something. But it's true. Every day, I go for a walk. I walk the same route. I have a jump rope. I jump rope. In fact, my wife and I talk about this sometimes now. I've been doing it so long here in Decatur, Georgia, that people stop, speak to me. There is a Forrest Gump element to it. And it's true. And I made the Wino go on several long walks in Raleigh around the hotel, which is actually around the lake, which is when I learned, I don't think I'm telling tales out of school, where I learned that Steve Wino can't swim. So there you go.
Really? I cannot swim. Neither of my parents knew how to swim. By the time they threw me into a pool, it wasn't going to work. But all I was worried about that day was not falling into the lake. The walk itself was great. We were in a wooded area and we kind of just wandered around. It was a good cleansing morning before 8 hours of drinking and watching football, as long as I didn't fall into the lake.
Oh, this is a lot to digest here. We have a non-swimmer and then a jump rope champion. This is very interesting stuff. Do you jump to music? Like, I've seen these videos of people like just dance jump roping and it looks intense.
Yeah, no, I don't take my phone with me, and I don't have any kind of ear plugs or anything like that. No, it's just me in nature.
Wow, I love that. Good points, even though it was a question about dill pickle chips. So good, plus points. Okay, so that's actually interesting because you are in Carolina. There's a lot of great players there to watch. But do you have a favorite player? Someone you just either love the way they play, or someone you've talked to that you know like even more because of that, or anyone that just kind of gravitate towards?
I like anyone who's nice to me and can remember my name. So, but no, I'm sure Steve feels the same way. Well, in fact, once again, I will control this dialogue, but and we won't go into it. But we have part of sometimes when we are discussing, if it's just Steve and I or a group of us, a group of hockey writers, we will have players that we. I'll tell you, it's a lot easier to find players that we find disagreeable or hard to deal with or work with than it is players who are open and are willing to spend time and share things. Listen, it's a cliche, but the vast majority of hockey players and people in the game are exceptional to deal with. That's the reality. So but sometimes we do talk about that very tiny group that aren't. But to answer your question, I don't know if there are there probably aren't favorites. I mean, there are people that I've run into now because I've been doing it a long time. Like I always love to run into Matt Cullen, and Matt Cullen was I just always enjoyed my conversations. We used to have this joke that he could not retire because if he did, it meant that we were both really old. And of course, he almost never retired. And I saw him; he was on the bench with the Penguins the other night, filling in for Todd Reardon. So, but no, there have been a lot. There are a lot, and I feel fortunate. When I go to a game or an event, and you run into whether it's a current player or even somebody that I'll tell you how old I am. When I very first started in sports, so I did the Bernardo thing, and my first sports job was a columnist at the Windsor Star in Windsor, Ontario, and the captain of the Windsor Spitfires was DJ Smith. So whenever I run into DJ Smith now, I'm like, man, that's a long time ago. And I think he's doing a great job in that Ottawa situation. So anyway, I wish I could, if I thought about it, I could probably come up with, I mean, I spent a lot of time around Sidney Crosby over the years, and Sidney has always been exceptionally graceful with his time. And I covered his cup days in 2009. I was in the Stanley Cup parade in Cole Harbor with some photographers right behind Granny and Grandpa. So and he was kind enough. I was out at his lake house. We had the cup, and I didn't stay for the Great Big Sea concert, which was at his house, but I've always enjoyed my conversations with him because he's an incredibly thoughtful, smart guy. So
yeah, I mean there's been a list of people who have said good things about Sidney Crosby, and it's hard for us Capitals fans to enjoy hearing that, but I guess he's a good guy, so we'll go with that. This one is tough now because you answered about your guilty pleasure being dill pickle chips, but I know that at the at games and stuff, there's some different options for food in the media lounge and in the press box and stuff. Is there something that you always have to get? Like I always love the what is it, like a bits and bites mix, with like the pretzels and crackers and stuff. Is there something that it's like, all right, let me get my seat, let me grab my cup full of whatever it is, or a Diet Coke, whatever. Do you have something like that?
Yeah, I'm partial to dry roasted peanuts. You don't find them everywhere, but I like those. One of the things I've found over the years in press boxes, and I don't know whether Steve will corroborate this or not, there are very few press boxes with good coffee, and I don't know why. Why does that happen?
And there are particularly bad arenas for coffee. And I don't want the people at Scotiabank and Arena in Toronto to get mad at me, but that is some of the worst rink coffee you could possibly find. They say it's Tim Hortons. It's not Tim Hortons.
Yeah. Dallas, I spent a year working for the Stars and, love those guys, but man, the coffee it's garbage. And that's the thing. And it's hard to find. It's just hard to find good coffee in a press box. And you would wonder why that would be so. But, and I try, Toronto, I covered the Leafs for a couple of years. They have ice cream bars. And it was during a period in my life when I was not jumping rope. So ice cream bars, I try not to eat them too much. So, but that was a good thing in Toronto, the ice cream bars.
And that's actually a favorite memory of mine from working at Canadian Press in Toronto, was eating those ice cream bars with like the legends of hockey writing, and Eric DeHotchik and Pierre and whatever, during like Hockey Night in Canada, and watching like Don Cherry and watching the insiders on the TV in the press box there. And that's how I associate those ice cream sandwiches.
Yeah. So it's a great question though. So Karl, I don't know if you had occasion to be in the press box in Montreal, but if you are, well, I'm not being facetious, but I don't know how often you were up in there, but did the players get the pressed hot dogs in Montreal? That's it. For all hockey writers, that's the king of press box snacks, those pressed hot dogs in Montreal. Ooh.
Well, I know I'll let you take this.
Our regular listeners know that this is the official podcast of the Bell Center hot dog.
Yeah, it seems to always come up, these hot dogs. And it's like, honestly, they should give us a share in that hot dog company, or whoever's making them, because we've been pumping them up. They're just something you have to have. It's not like, to me, it doesn't feel like such a commitment. It's like a tiny little hot dog. So it's like easy. It's like those little mini chocolate bars. Yeah. It's just like, yep, I'll have one of these. Gone.
And you can't really, let's be honest, you can't just have one, right? Like
exactly. They come in pairs.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, and what I just realized just now is the draft is in Montreal at Bell Center in July. And I couldn't think of the next time we'd be able to have those hot dogs. And now there's an occasion for that.
You guys got to go live. You guys have to go live from Montreal.
That'd be kind of interesting, actually. We'll look into that. Except I won't be having any hot dogs. I'm off the hot dog train, but I'll definitely smell them. They smell good. So, so this is perfect that you mentioned that, though, because it leads into my final question, which I saved for select guests, ones that I think might have a good argument for it. But here it goes: is a hot dog a sandwich?
No.
Why not?
I don't even think it's I see the debate occasionally on social media. It's not. A hot dog is a hot dog, and I like sandwiches, and a hot dog is not a sandwich. So that's all there is to it.
How do you define what a sandwich is?
Well, I don't even know that, but I know it's not a hot dog.
What's the line about porn? You know it when you see it. I know a sandwich when I see it.
Well, it's like art. That's it. I don't know. I've never heard the porn one, but it's the art. I don't know art, but I know it when I see it. I don't know what a sandwich is, but a hot dog is not a sandwich.
Simple as that. I like it. Don't need to get extra on that one. That's a good answer for me. Okay, let me give you your tally here. Just quickly go back over these. Big dill pickle chip fan as well. So good answer. Handyman. I get that. Nuts, coffee, perfect. Okay, so that's gonna slot you here at 102 points, which is over the 100-point threshold, which is I guess happening more often now because people are wising up to what they need to answer. But you beat Tom Galletti from last weekend, so congratulations on that.
Is there a playoff later?
There's possibly going to be a playoff, yeah. So don't overmanage, don't mismanage your answers. Just let it be, and you'll be fine.
That's good advice, because I would start to think about it now. So
exactly.
And for even with that, even beyond the fantasy football, Scott and I and a few colleagues, Frank Cervalli and Kevin McGran, we also do a playoff football and playoff hockey pool every year. So it was a pick 'em against the spread for football, but we also draft players and do a whole scoring system bit in hockey playoffs because we're degenerates.
Gotta have fun with it, right? I think that's a good idea.
That's true.
Scott, thank you very much for joining us, and I look forward to the next time our paths cross in Raleigh or elsewhere.
Okay. Well, I'm so honored to have joined you guys. It's been a ton of fun. Call anytime.
Thanks, Scott.
And we very well might. Thanks everybody for listening on All's Caps. Dennis Kudla coming up later this week for more Karl Stupid questions, some more Capitals talk, and whatever else Karl and I want to get into. Talk to you guys then.